So, what we are talking about today is the future of music teaching. It's a really light topic, right? You know, just kind of breezy and easy for the holiday season. Well, actually, no, it can be kind of a heavy topic, but I think it's an important topic for us to discuss. And I think one of the advantages of MTNA is that it allows most of us who work as individual music teachers to try and come together and think collectively and think like a group and face some of the challenges that we may be seeing. So I don't have any easy answers today, but we're going to go through a number of different things. And basically, this is all predicated on the question of, is music study declining? And I've heard a lot of talk about this from teachers over the years. You may have seen me present on this topic in recent years. And I get a variety of answers, from very firm no, it's not declining, my studio is doing great, I have a waiting list and lots of wonderful students, to yes, I'm struggling finding the students that I used to kind of an in-between answer that yes, I have students, but they don't seem at the same quality, or there's something different about them from students of previous years. And I don't know exactly what the real answer is, but I think it's healthy for us to talk through some of the issues and see what's happening. So even if you're one of those whose studio is doing really well, I think these are important things to discuss. So our path today is we're basically going to start by imagining the future for a few moments. Then we're going to outline some of the challenges that we feel are facing the music teaching profession. From there, I'd like to look at some data and see what we can find statistically to tell us about how things are going in the music profession, and particularly the music teaching profession. And then we're going to circle back and kind of reimagine the future again and see if we have any ideas or any solutions or things we'd like to try, whether that's in our own studios or with our local associations or even with the state and national levels of MTNA. So I'd like to start with a little thought exercise. And what I'd like you to do is imagine the world 50 years in the future. So the year is 2068. And by miracles of medicine and advancements in health and nutrition, we are all doing well. We're all now expected to live to be 200 years old. So we're teaching, you know, the no thoughts that you've retired or anything like that, even if you may be planning on retirement. This is just an exercise. So you are teaching 50 years in the future, and your studio right now is much more successful than it's ever been. And MTNA is much more successful than it's ever been. So MTNA has just inducted its 100,000th member. We have 100,000 members now. We have a huge endowment that has now reached $1 billion. MTNA is giving lots of money to programs to give instruments to students all over the world and encourage music study. Now I want to back up and think, well, what did we do to cause such great success? You know, what happened in those 50 years that made music study even better than it is today? And this is just a little exercise that I think is based on a really important teaching principle, and that is imagining your students as accomplished learners. So I had a wonderful time yesterday evening. I taught the very first lesson to a new beginner. Evan was 6 years old, and he came for his very first piano lesson. And that's a special time. You know, you only get one first piano lesson. And what I try to do with every student who I start, and with all of my students who have been with me for a long time, is always imagine them many years in the future. So Evan is 6. What does he look like when he's 16, after he's been taking piano with me for 10 years? What qualities does he have? What do I want him to look like as a mature musician? And then I back up and I try to start teaching those qualities from the very first lesson. So things like paying attention to sound and having a really steady beat are important. So I want us to kind of do the same thing with our studios. You know, what do they look like with great success in the future? And what did we do to get them there? I always like to look at some quotes. So let's look at a quote from one of the world's great philosophers, the Yankee catcher Yogi Berra. And Yogi said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. Even when things are going well, I think it's important to think about where we're headed. What is happening as a profession? What are the things that we might need to watch out for that are just around the corner? And that's what today's discussion is about. Let's move from one of the world's great philosophers to one of the world's great pedagogues.